Good morning all, it's Sunday, it is miserable out there, so time to talk about the Cheltenham Festival. Seems there's no Cheltenham folks this year. This is a good opportunity for me to talk about it. And I put a tweet out yesterday saying, personally, although not a great punting one, today was very informative for the future. Anyone learn anything from this weekend that they think will help them going forward for the Cheltenham Festival? Plenty of you got involved, plenty of you commented, so thank you very much for that. The first comment I'm seeing in front of me was from Harry Sutton saying, not really, but considering the international hurdle was pretty much a flat race, it was never going to suit Goshen, who is a stamina speed horse who is not all about a turn of foot. Now is the time to get on him for a bit of cover, but Epatante looks a banker again. I agree with this comment actually. If you're going to back Goshen and you still like Goshen, then backing him now, you're probably getting the best value you're going to get. Because if he goes out next time and leaves that form in the international well behind, he's going to shorten right up for the festival. So if you do like him, do back him now. For me personally, I don't really like backing these juveniles the following season. But that wasn't him yesterday, in comparison to what he did in the Triumph Hurdle. There's no getting away from the Triumph Hurdle performance. It was fantastic. He was just really keen. And like you say, he probably wasn't suited by the hurdles being taken out. That was just a bit disappointing, really. But Epatante, I totally agree, he looks banker material at this stage. I think the two Irish horses, Abacadabras and St. Roy, probably the two biggest dangers at the moment. I can't see anything from this side of the water getting involved in the champion hurdle. The next comment is from Jamie Mitchell. The Irish really don't have much to worry about. The Presbyterian Cup will be a non-event in March. Totally agree. The English handicapper is doing our lads no favours at all at the moment, and the Irish are miles ahead. They have been for the last couple of years, and it's going to continue to go on for the next couple of years. When we see a decent bunch of British novice hurdlers coming through, I think that's when the ball's going to start rolling for things to turn around. Totally agree, the Presbyterian Cup will be a non-event in March. Aaron Rhodes. Yeah, the sun in this country is an absolute nightmare. That's what Aaron learned this weekend. The sun is an absolute nightmare. I couldn't agree more, Aaron. Something's got to be done about this because the races that we're betting into once these hurdles have been taken out are not the same races. So something's definitely got to be done in terms of a punter perspective. Something's got to be done in terms of the horses' perspective, because these races are just being changed, basically. So I totally agree that, Aaron, the sun is an absolute nightmare for this country. Neil Hawkins, Chantry House, very disappointing this season. Does he need 3 miles in the RSA? Personally, I felt that he would probably benefit from a drop back to 2 miles. I thought he jumped much better yesterday than he did on debut. But he just didn't really... he's not showing the zest he showed last year. So whether he's sort of overhyped or not, I'm not entirely sure. But on debut, he didn't look a natural chaser to me. He was much better at Cheltenham. I'm just disappointed. You'd have to be disappointed he was outstayed by Fusi Raffles and even behind Lieutenant Rocco. So I'm back to the drawing board with Chantry House. Perhaps he'll be a different horse once stepped up to 3 miles. You could well be right. It might be the fact that he was outpaced yesterday. Although he didn't really look like he was staying on strongly for me. I'm just not sure where I'm stand with Chantry House at the moment. The second part of his question is, Mr. Fisher was pretty good on decent ground. Has he got a chance going in the Ryanair? Or no, he's got a decent chance of going in the Ryanair or the Champion Chase. He has absolutely no chance, Neil, of going in the Champion Chase. He has absolutely no chance of winning that 2 mile race. The Ryanair could be a different matter. For me, he's always looked like a bit of a stayer, and he finished up that hill very strongly on Saturday. So perhaps he could do... I'm just concerned about the debut, the reappearance run, though. I'm not having them saying that soft ground was an excuse. He was decent fourth in the Marsh on soft ground last year at the festival, and that was the best form on offer. So he should have won on Saturday, really. It was difficult to forgive him if you were a backer of him in the Paddy Power, because there was no real excuse for that run. But yeah, I thought Ryanair would be the way they would go with that one. And his last part of the question is, something must be amiss with Goshen. He can't be that bad after the Triumph Hurdle run. Yeah, I don't think he can be that bad. The figures that he clocked in the Triumph Hurdle were outstanding. He was very, very good there. He's not really been the same sort of horse that we've seen this year. Like I say, juveniles tend to struggle the next year out. Perhaps it might just be a fact-finding mission this year with him, and just keep him very lightly raced for the following year. We'll see what they do with him. But I do feel a little bit for the Moors, because he's obviously a very talented horse. And now a lot of people are slagging him off, and that's just not on, really. He's just not showing what he did at the Triumph. There's nothing wrong with that run. You can't get away from the figures of the Triumph Hurdle. He definitely did a fantastic performance there. West Country Racing, I think it's quite likely there'll be 1 or 2 Irish train winners at the festival with a winking face. This is obviously a very sarcastic remark, but I totally agree with West Country Racing. There's definitely going to be a fair few Irish train winners, and that relates back to the question about the Prestbury Cup. So yeah, definitely agree there. West Country Racing. Pedro Peak, Size and Potsy could be an Arkle horse if it was come up soft or heavy. Pedro Peak, the Arkle was sewn up with Shishkin, I'm afraid. I don't think anything's going to be beating that horse. And like I say, it stems back to last year's Cheltenham Festival. Shishkin and Abacadabras was so far clear of anything in that Supreme Novice. You go through to the Ballymore, Envoy Allen, Embittered, and Easy Work was so far clear of anything else in a Ballymore. So look, I think it's always pays to follow those sort of races the following year at the Cheltenham Festival. Gary Wilson, Court Maid, National Hunt Chase, Looking Eyes. Perhaps, definitely will get the trip. Maybe given a little bit too much to do at the weekend. Court Maid, I'm not sure. I'm not overly convinced. I thought Court Maid's best form was come on right-handed tracks. But we'll see. He's got a long way to go to beat lots of Galvin, I think, in the National Hunt Chase. Carl Hinchy, unless the BH handicapper gets a grip, we might as well not run any UK horses in supporting races. I totally agree with that. I think it's ridiculous what the handicapper's been doing at the moment. He's over-egging so many performances from these novice hurdlers and handicappers. It's ridiculous. Something's got to change, surely. Maybe we'll get the handicapper a stopwatch or something. Gary Comley, to trust my instinct is what he learnt this year. He must have backed 1 or 2 of my losers at the weekend. But yes, Gary, always trust your instinct. Never be swayed by someone else's opinion if you fancy a horse. If you've done your work and you fancy your horse, stick to that horse. You can always take opinions from other people, but never let it sway your mind and trust your instinct. That's a good comment, that, Gary. Racing Professionals, plenty will disagree, but if there was a time to back Goshen for the champion hurdle, it's now. We know he's better than what he's shown so far this season. Gary Moore rates him. His form last season backs up, and it'd be no surprise if he got him there to put in one big run on the day. Champion hurdlers don't just put one big run in on the day. Champion hurdlers are able to do it throughout the season. That's what makes them a champion. It's not just about on the day for me. I agree in terms of if you fancy backing Goshen, back him now because he's disappointed. You'll get a bigger price if he leaves that form behind, like we say. It'll be a bigger price. But yeah, partly agree, partly disagree. GJC, that Goshen will be in a novice chase at Ludlow sometime soon. No, he won't. He will not be going novice chasing this season, that's for sure. They will wait and let him get this juvenile season, this penultimate season after his juvenile campaign out the way, and then they will decide what they're going to do with him, I think. So no. Dav, Monmouth Rail could be explosive in the Triumph Hurdle. Absolutely not, Dav. Couldn't disagree any more than that. Monmouth Rail ran to a mark of around 120 Exeter on debut. Very, very similar time to a very exposed horse called Trans Express. I wasn't impressed with him then. There was nothing to take him on with yesterday, which was frustrating. He didn't win that convincingly. It was a poor race. It was deep ground. I could not have him for the life of me. I'm sorry, Dav. Simon Curry, that hill finds the men from the boys every time. Winners don't quit and quitters don't win. That is a saying to live your life by, and that is very, very true, Simon. That hill is brutal, especially at a championship pace come the festival. So you do need a real stayer in any sort of event that you're backing a horse in. William Martin, Silver Streak and Song for Someone are both 10s. Great value against Epperton after today's performances, only getting better. I agree Silver Streak and Song for Someone are still on the improve, but they need to find a fair bit to beat Epperton. Silver Streak was the unlucky horse yesterday. I was gutted he couldn't get up. Didn't get a clear run. He's a lovely horse. He's put in a career best performance at Kempton. It would be very interesting if it came up good ground on the day. I do like Silver Streak. Very important, very experienced horse. Song for Someone for me may not get his own way out in front in Cheltenham Festival, and I'm just so worried how many horses finished so closely together in that international. It was about 8 of them when they chicaned past the last hurdle. It's about 8 in with a chance there out the running. So for me, I couldn't have any of them as a champion hurdler. Dav, Irish to win all 5 handicap hurdles at the Fest and at least 2 of the 4 handicap chases. I totally agree, probably. They're going to be dominant this year, so keep that in mind when you're anti-post betting. The Irish will likely be very dominant. Racing Professionals. there is time. I'm not seeing anything beyond the front six in the betting winning the Triumph at this stage. So if you take a view and you can find an angle to favour one of the following, Zanier, Monreal, Quaquilas, I can't say that was, Dufflecoat, Nassalam and Adagio, you could get some value. Right, the Triumph Hurdle. Every single year people make the same mistakes. Wait until after Christmas to see what comes out, because a lot of this pre-Christmas form is not up to standard, not up to what's required. Monreal, not up to what's required. Dufflecoat very much reminds me of a horse called Dinons that Gordon Elliott had, so I'd be very surprised if Dufflecoat, given how many runs he's had, is going to be the type of horse that he fancies for the Triumph Hurdle. Nassalam, for me, has beaten absolutely nothing. He's ran in 2 terrible races, done it in very slow or fairly slow times. I think when he comes up against something half decent, he's going to get found out. And Adagio won as he should have won at the weekend. He was miles clear on ratings than everything else. So Zanier is probably the one who looks a bit of a class act that I would probably keep on side, but I couldn't have any of the others at the moment. Lump all you want on Epatante between now and March, says Ben Brooker. I agree. Get on Epatante. I think she's a fantastic chance of winning back-to-back champion hurdles. Paddy, Ben Tatar ran a blinder given how long he's been off. It could be one to keep tabs off in the coming months off 142. At the festival, not for me. We'd have to reassess and watch again for many clues. I totally agree. Ben Tatar is very interested on 142 going forward. It was a fantastic run on Saturday. The issue you've got with that, though, is that everybody else has now seen it. So he may well be overbet next time. Racing professionals. Sometimes you need to trust the trainer's knowledge of a horse and forget the form book. GM rates Goshen as the best he's ever trained. That alone is worth something. Henderson always said Futsy Raffles wanted further and was written off by many after his last run. Could not disagree with this comment any more. Never, ever, ever listen to trainer comments. Never, ever let their knowledge of what they're telling you about their horse change what you think is going to happen in a race. It absolutely... I couldn't have, this is everything I'm against, actually, this comment. I don't care if Gary Moore thinks Goshen's the best he's ever trained. I don't care if Nicky Henderson thinks Fussy Raffles wants further. I'm going to decide what those horses want when I'm making my punts, because then I've only got myself to blame and not any other trainer. Trainers typically only know about their own horses in a race. They don't necessarily know about every other horse in that race. Do not throw the form book out. The form book is absolute fact. Whereas trainer opinion is just that. It's an opinion. So I don't agree with that, racing professional. Sorry. Jay Dutton. Yes, Brandy Love is a very good horse. I haven't seen this horse, Jay. I'm going to have a look today. So thank you very much. Robots. Chantry House is overhyped. Perhaps very much could well be overhyped. The Goshen isn't the danger to Epatante. Could not agree more there, Liam. I think the 2 Irish horses are the danger. Pat Rick, don't touch Chantry House and Silver Streak with fire emojis. Yeah, we've sort of touched on Silver Streak. Well, I think he's a fantastic horse. Definitely get an each way shout for the champion hurdle. Whether he can beat Epatante, I'm very much doubt. Whether he can reverse form with Epatante, I very much doubt it. And don't touch Chantry House. Probably not for now for me either. James Higgins, Song for Someone is overpriced for the champion hurdle because he hasn't got a big trainer name. I don't think that's the case, actually. I think Song for Someone is a really likeable, improving horse, but I think Song for Someone is probably at about grade 2 level. And the jump from grade 2 to grade 1 is just so massive. Whether or not, like I say, Song for Someone will get his own way out in front, I'm not sure. And again, you have to look at that international hurdle field and say, look, Christ, there's 8 in with a chance bypassing the last. So it would be a slight concern for me. Teddy's tips, Mo Hayed is high on the festival list. Yeah, high on the festival list for me most years. In fact, last year I really quite fancied him at a big price, but didn't come to fruition. He's very interesting. They sort of win with him when they like, if you will. So it's very much a guessing game. But yeah, I would definitely keep him in mind for the county. Dave Downey, yes, the Irish are going to come over and piss all over the UK horses again in March. I probably couldn't agree more with that. I think they are, like I say, miles ahead of us at the moment, and we really need to up our game over this side of the water. But that's it. Thank you very much for commenting. It's good to talk about Cheltenham on this miserable Sunday. The racing not up to much scratch today, but Cheltenham is starting to build. It's starting to get exciting. Christmas again, every single year, Christmas is a very, very important time of the year. So make note of how you felt today about these horses. Keep that in mind, and then keep building and going forward. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.